Hi, this is Jeff Davis with BroadwayWorld-Austin. I am here with David Blackburn and Barbara Schuler from Austin Theater Project, and they are in rehearsals right now for their production of SGERSHWIN. SGERSHWIN? Is that correct?
That's it.
Okay, great. Well, and I know this is a world premiere. Why don't you tell Broadway World viewers about what the show's about?
Well, what we've done is we've taken some stories about the creation of some of his most popular pieces and some of the interesting stories that went behind them. Like how he created Rhapsody in Blue in 3 hours.
Okay, and that is a really interesting story.
I don't know if I want to give it away, but yeah, he actually wrote it on a train ride from New York to Boston. And by the time he got to Boston, the entire piece was written in his mind, and he sent it right down.
The whole, what, 14 minutes?
The whole 14 minutes. We have stories like that. And then one of the other things I did was when I was going through the music and picking up the music, I wanted to find arrangements that were new and fresh. Because we've all heard a million versions of, oh gosh.
I've Got Rhythm.
I've Got Rhythm. They kind of all sound the same. So I found a lot of reworked arrangements. I found some a cappella group arrangements that kind of have a Manhattan Transfer flair to them. So it's going to be a really interesting show. It's a really well-balanced show. There's a lot of dance. There's 3 or 4 big dance numbers, a lot of tap.
And how big of a cast are you guys doing?
I've got 6 singers.
6 singers.
6 singers, and we have 1 featured dancer. And then the thing that's very unique is that we have twin grand pianos on stage, and I'll be playing the one side, and then Carl Loeb, who plays for the Capital City Men's Chorus, will also be playing. So we'll be playing the whole show.
And is it just songs and dance numbers and?
There's some narration, and there's songs and dance numbers and medleys and some mashups. Of, everything's just done a little bit differently.
So now with your 6-7 person cast, is this the first time that for some of them that they've been able to do a Gershwin show?
I think it's the first time for everybody but one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Ryan Smith grew up with her dad singing Gershwin, since she was 4 years old.
And all kinds of.
But I think for the others, a show of all Gershwin, this is the first time for all.
Wow.
For them.
Great. And what has it been like for you to kind of piece it all together? And
that was really hard. I mean, if I really put in everything I wanted, it'd be a 4-hour show.
Yeah. So how do you then limit what the content? Because I mean, Gershwin
He took all my schmaltzy love songs out.
Not all of them.
No.
But I mean, Gershwin, like the Gershwin songbook is massive. And there's really not anything in there that's necessarily I can't think of a bad Gershwin.
No, there's no such thing as a bad Gershwin song. So I went with the flow of the show. Then I went with, is there a good arrangement? And from there I was pretty much able to whittle it down to 2 normal length acts. But boy, it was hard going, do I really want to cut this song? And then I would cut the song.
And then we added the biggies.
Well, yeah.
There's Rhapsody in Blue in there, and American in Paris are both.
And tell me about the American in Paris sequence.
Well, the sequence. Well, of course, we've cut them down a little bit to make them more manageable. But our choreographer Megan Bowman has created a ballet for American in Paris with a fresh new story. Still keeps the spirit of the piece.
Nice.
And it's really going to be fun. We saw them do it today, and it's really going to be great. And then she's also created a dance piece for Rhapsody in Blue with a featured dancer from her company that's going to be doing our show.
We cast voices on the first round like we always do, and then we brought them in for intensive dance auditions. And found out that some of the people that I just thought were singers and performers were actually consider themselves dancers who can sing.
Yeah, interesting.
And are actually wonderful, wonderful dancers.
And that's an interesting comment because I feel like Austin in general doesn't get as much credit for having talented dancers. I mean, everyone knows that we're the music capital of the world, and we have great singers and great vocal talent here. And great actors, but I feel like dance shows in this town are kind of few and far between.
Well, and it's funny because we are so fortunate to have Megan, who's just turned out to be a great choreographer for us.
Yeah.
But this is really going to show off her work.
And how has it been like for the cast to rehearse this show, where it's just, for the most part, all performance and all singing and dancing and, a true musical review? Has it been challenging for them at all?
Well, we've kind of done that before, and when your edges and your falsettos never stopped. But they do have slight breaks. I mean, one point today, one of the singers, can I sing my song before we dance this through twice?
Yeah.
Because it's tough.
Yeah.
But, 30
Have there been any moments where someone's come to you and said, "This is my favorite Gershwin song, I really want to do this one. Can you throw that in?" You?
Yeah,
Which one?
He didn't put Embraceable You in, and I love that one. But
that was like the one that ripped my heart out too.
That was okay.
Wow.
And
is that?
I know, right? But I did have a song for Becky, and it's one of my favorite songs. And she was like, "I really don't like this song." I was like, "Oh, really?" So she says, "Can we do this one?" But for my audition, I was like, "Oh yeah, let's do that. That'll fit really well." So we ended up switching that song out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everybody seems to really fit well with their songs.
They do.
I'm able to hear a lot of styles that you're not going to be recognizing to match up with people. Ryan Smith, who's just got this beautiful musical theater voice, does a wonderful jazz rendition of "It's Wonderful."
Oh, nice.
That and it's a voice quality that I've never really heard before, and that was kind of neat. So there's a few moments like that, and we have some new people on the show that I've never worked with before. We've done stuff around, but I've never had a chance, and so there's some great stuff. And but like Barbara said, some of these people that we've worked with as singers and actors, when I see them dancing, I'm like, "Whoa, you can do that?" Josh.
Princeton.
The guy who played
Isaac
Princeton.
Area at Princeton.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you really do sing better than that, and you dance.
Yeah.
You tap. Look at you.
He's really shining in this.
Great.
So it's exciting. It's just been a fun process putting something together where you have no reference point. You get to create your reference point.
Now, how long have you been working on this before you? I'm assuming because you kind of conceived the show. Right? What was your process in doing that, and how? When did you start working on this?
About 4 or 5 months ago, I started looking at arrangements, and it was like going, "Well, that's a disappointment." No, keep that one. Okay. So that was probably the longest process, was picking the arrangements, picking the music, finding different styles. Did found a lot of Ella Fitzgerald versions of songs, but then I didn't want it to be a tribute to Ella Fitzgerald. I wanted it.
Yeah, and that's going to be hard because I think, first of all, her arrangements are amazing.
We do have one in there. We did put one in. I put the best one. So.
Okay. Yeah, and her arrangements of those songs were I think probably the most recognizable ones too, right?
Yeah. And so I took one that was a little bit less recognized, but still very Ella Fitzgerald. So. And then the other thing that's exciting is doing it with 2 pianos.
Yeah.
And coming up with 2 piano arrangements for the accompaniment. And Carl's been writing out a lot of them, and we've been practicing in the afternoons and going, "Okay, wait, you play this part, I'll focus on this part, and we'll match it up." So it's been a good process. I've played with Carl for several years.
And regarding the 2 pianos thing, I know that something like Rhapsody Blue is not necessarily known as a piano.
And interesting, that's how it was that was the original piece, was for 2 pianos.
And I wanted to ask you about that. How did you find that? Because I've never, I don't think a lot of people know that.
Actually,
or know that arrangement of it.
I actually had it from college. I learned the 2 piano arrangement in college. And then also, American in Paris was originally written for 2 pianos. And I found that arrangement. I did a lot of searching.
I bet.
There was a lot of internet searching.
Now, do you know off the top of your head how many songs the Gershwins were?
How many?
Altogether?
Oh, I have no idea.
Got to be in the thousands, right? I would assume.
I would assume it's upwards of that because there's a lot. There's so much that we don't even know.
Obscure things that we don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wrote. Well, in the beginning of his career, when he was at Tin Pan Alley, he was putting out 2 or 3 songs a day. He was just cranking out songs.
You don't get credit for all that stuff, so it's hard to say.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, in that era.
Here's your dollar for writing it. Your name's not on here. So.
And actually, Swanee came out of that process of a partnership with one of his co-workers on Tin Pan Alley, and he was playing it at. This is one of our stories. In fact, he was playing it at a dinner party. And Al Jolson happened to be there and went, what's that song? I really like it. Huh. And he put it in his next musical on Broadway called Sinbad. And that was the beginning.
I love those old Broadway shows that
no one's ever heard of. These songs come out of it. So, and Swanee is such a unique song for, when you think about the Gershwin style. Because it really doesn't fit in with fascinating rhythm. It's not the same. You don't hear the same Gershwin qualities. You hear a definite Tin Pan Alley sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, but it was just really interesting learning about how he was very much an environmental composer. He took the sounds of the city and he took the sounds around him and he created his music from those.
Well, and you can certainly hear that, especially in Rhapsody in Blue.
Well, and that's because you hear
the sound
train,
of that city.
And the lush, beautiful part of it is actually the rolling hills of New Jersey.
There are.
And there are. I see them, and they're beautiful. There are beautiful parts of New Jersey, and that's what he was writing about when he was there. It was actually originally called An American Rhapsody, and it was after the initial performance when Ira said, we should change it to Rhapsody in Blue because the blues fit in. There's so much blues in there. So he went, I like that. So interesting. It was one of the few times he and his brother agreed on something.
I've heard on that a little bit. Well, I think there's this sort of romanticized idea about their partnership.
Right, and I really didn't do anything to dispel the romanticism of their partnership. They disagreed on just about everything, but I think that helped their process because it caused lyrics to be more unique. It caused music. It caused him to try new things in his music, and that's the stuff that has lived on and has made it so enduring. There were disagreements, but they were definitely part of the process, and they definitely created a big benefit for all of us. It just blows me away. He died. He was 38 years old when he died.
Can you imagine what he would have done?
Well, just being able to do what he did by 38 is. Yeah. How many musicals are attributed to them? And I know Girl Crazy, which was the
Girl Crazy, which became Crazy for You.
And then the Hollywood musicals like American in Paris.
See, there's so many Hollywood musicals, but American in Paris happened 15 years after he died.
Right, and they interpolated all of these songs, right?
Right, but there was,
we pulled that up so long ago to look through them.
Yeah. Broadway, there wasn't a lot. He was more part of reviews, review type shows. In Hollywood, there were probably 10 or 11 films, which in the short time he was out there, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But he died in California. He and Ira had moved out there for Hollywood, and he was actually performing his piano concerto with the San Francisco Symphony when he blacked out in the middle of it. In the middle of the performance, he got through the performance somehow. And then they got him home. They drove him down to Los Angeles, and he never fully recovered. And it turned out, of course, he had a brain tumor. And he didn't even last a week after that.
Wow.
It went by very, very quickly.
I did not know that he died so young.
Yeah. 38, 48.
Back then, you didn't survive those things.
Yeah.
You know, it was really interesting when I was reading it. It said, and the best neurosurgeons in the world were brought in, and they couldn't save him. You know,
well, back then.
in
But
1938.
how old was neurosurgery?
In 1938,
That's
that
just
was
a
still
doctor nowadays.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's tragic, but when you think about all he did,
Yeah.
I mean, there was he left us with so much, and maybe that's all he was fated to write.
I can't wait to see the show, and I'm sure it's going to be a big hit, and
Thanks.
can't wait to
Yeah,
see
we're
it.
trying, hopefully a diversified audience. A lot of the older people that, older than us even, that haven't really come to our shows yet.
Yeah.
We're hoping to,
Trying to open up.
this one's for you, come and see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.